You ever stop and wonder why you do the things you do? Like why you celebrate certain holidays, or why some foods just feel like home? It's not random, you know? It's all part of this invisible force that's shaping our lives every single day. And that force is called culture. So today we're going to decode that force, and I promise by the end of this you're going to start seeing it, well, everywhere. So let's start with a few questions just to get our brains warmed up. Okay, first one. Just think about it for a second. What are the big celebrations in your family? Can you smell a certain food cooking? Can you hear the music? What does it feel like to be with everyone? Go ahead, really picture it. All right, next up, food. We all have that one dish, right? You know what I'm talking about. The one that just instantly transports you back to your childhood. The meal you look forward to all year long. What's that dish for you? And okay, last one. Think about all those little rules you just know. You know? Like how to act in a library, how to talk to your boss, or even just how to stand in line. It's all the stuff you do without even thinking about it. Well, if you answered any of those questions, even in your head, then guess what? You've just described a piece of your own culture. Yep, all those holidays, those foods, those unwritten rules. That's it. That is your culture, live and in action. Okay, so if all that stuff is culture, what is it, really? What's the official definition? How do we actually describe this massive thing we've been talking about? So, at its core, culture is just the way of life for a group of people. It's pretty simple, right? Think of it like a giant instruction manual for how to be a part of a society. It covers literally everything: your habits, your actions, traditions, values, beliefs. It's the unwritten code that kind of tells everyone how to get along in that group. Now, that's a really big concept. So if culture is this huge manual, where do we even begin to read it? Well, the easiest way is to just split it into two main parts. Think of it like this. There's the culture you can touch and the culture you can't. So on one side, you've got material culture. This is all the physical stuff, the objects, the things you can actually touch. And on the other side, you have non-material culture. These are the ideas, the beliefs, the values. The rule of thumb here is super simple. If you can hold it in your hand, it's material. If you can't, it's non-material. That's it. Okay, so let's start with the untouchable stuff, the non-material side. This is like the invisible software that's running in the background of a society. So what are we talking about here? Well, non-material culture includes all the big systems that organize our lives, like government and religion, but it's also our language, our literature, and maybe most importantly, our values, what we think is right or wrong, and our beliefs, the stuff we hold to be true. These are the core ideas that really guide everything we do. And here's a perfect example of how that works. Take a value like respect for elders. That's a classic non-material idea, right? You can't touch respect. But that invisible value directly leads to a visible action, a material thing, like how a younger person might greet an elder. It's an invisible rule that creates a very visible result. Okay, so if those are the invisible ideas, how do they actually show up in the real world? Well, that brings us to the other half of the equation, material culture, the physical stuff that gets created because of those non-material ideas. And to really see how this connection works, let's look at a concrete example. We're going to check out how early Filipinos expressed their non-material culture through all the amazing material things they made. This table just lays it all out so clearly. I mean, look at tattoos. The tattoo itself is a material thing, right? You can see it, you can touch it, but it symbolizes a non-material value, bravery. And it's the same deal with their clothing, their jewelry, even their houses, the classic bahay kubo. Every single one of these physical things is an expression of their non-material culture. And this isn't just an ancient thing, it's universal. Think about a wedding ring. It's a material object, a piece of metal, but it represents a huge non-material value commitment. And seeing that link, that connection between the stuff we make and the ideas we believe in, well, that's how we understand a culture's identity. So you might be wondering, how do all these ideas and objects stick around for hundreds, even thousands of years? Well, that's where this idea of heritage comes into play. And this is a really cool way to think about it. We all get what it means to inherit something, right? You might get your mom's ring or a story from your grandpa. It's personal. Well, heritage is the exact same thing, just for a whole country or community. It's everything that a group of people receives from their ancestors.
So, when we talk about traditional dances or songs, they're not just old fashioned performances. They're a living, breathing part of that heritage. They are the inheritance of an entire people, passed down from one generation to the next.
Okay, so let's recap. We've defined culture, we've split it into the touchable and untouchable parts, and we've seen how it gets passed down. So, what does this all mean for you right now? Well, it means you now have a brand new way to see the world. And here's the real takeaway. Once you start looking for it, you realize that the material and non-material parts of culture are in a constant conversation. Every single object tells a story about an idea. Every tradition is holding up a belief. So the most important thing is you now have the tools. You can be a culture decoder. You can look at anything, a building, a piece of clothing, how people celebrate a holiday, and you can ask that key question: what's the invisible idea that this visible thing is showing me? So I'm going to leave you with one last question to chew on. Just look around your own life right now. Find one material object, one physical thing that's really important to you, and then ask yourself, what non-material value, something like family or freedom or creativity, what invisible idea does that one object represent? The answer to that? Well, that's the beginning of your cultural story.